Coming now, guys. Give us a second. One more share. World Diabetes Day. That's what's happening today all
Mm.
around the world. We are acknowledging that today is a day that we've set aside to educate, inform, and hopefully inspire persons to one, get checked. Two,
Get
if you
checked.
are diabetic, get healthier. Do whatever we gotta do. We're excited. I'm excited because oh my goodness. I am just happy to be able to share with you that there is hope.
There
And no, it's
is.
not Lifestyle 360. Good evening, everyone. And I'm Marlene McKinney. And remember, I live where most of you vacation. And I live in sunny, beautiful sun, sand, and sea, Nassau, Bahamas, where we are a tourist destination. And we welcome you to come at any time you choose to. And I'm just happy to be here. I'm happy to be alive, very much so. And I just give God thanks. There you go. I see so many people waiting to say hi, but we have to get to Michelle first.
Hi, everyone. My name is Michelle Blackwood. How are you doing? I live here in sunny Florida. Also, where you vacation. And I saw Marlene today. They were saying that Disney World is jam packed, like literally jam packed. So a lot of people are escaping the cold and they're heading to sunny Florida. And hopefully, they're
Mhm.
on their way to Nassau, Bahamas, Marlene.
Hey, come on over. We
Yes.
welcome you. We welcome you all. We really do. We love when you guys come.
Oh,
Tourism is our number one industry. And so,
absolutely.
yes, definitely welcome you all. Today is a special day. We get a chance to talk about an illness that truly impacts so many homes, so many families, um, so many lives. And when I think of diabetes, I think of an illness that, to me, I tell people I think is the worst of all because it affects just about every organ, not just about, it affects every organ, every limb. People are losing limbs, they're losing their vision, they're losing, oh, it's just sad. It's sad.
Very
And
sad.
when it comes to type 2 diabetes, we know that there's hope. There's hope.
Oh,
And
oh,
so we're here to tell you that there's hope. And we have a special
there's
guest with us. We have a special guest.
there.
But before we get to our guest, you know what you got to do, right? What do you have to do? You got a part to play. And I'll start, Michelle will finish. And I hope that then you will do your job if you haven't done so already, because most of you are so diligent, you're so gracious. Remember to do what? Like, subscribe, share, and
Share,
comment, right?
subscribe to our YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you haven't done so already,
Yes.
do that for us. We appreciate all that you can do to help to, continue to get this message out to the world, and so we are grateful for that. Hey, Miss Krish, how you doing? Good evening, good evening, good evening. And hey, Prince Miller, my nephew, how are you?
Ah,
Hope you
nice.
are well. Thank you so much for stopping by. Don't change that dial. You stay right here with us. Hey, Jesus guy, what's going on down there in Jamaica? And Nara, what's up? What's cooking? That's my niece. Talia, Angel, how you doing? Sonia, how you doing, Miss Jenkins? ND, amen. Thank you for joining us. Thank you. I think I know those initials. I think I know those initials. If I'm right, tell me I'm right. That's San Diego, California in the house. That is. ND. All right. Then we have Shakira. Hi. Hey, Carlton. What's up, Carlton?
Carlton is in the house.
Carlton. Oh, we have so many persons. We have Candace. How you doing, Candace? Sherry. Good evening. Michelle's sharing. I'll talk about she bad eating a bit. Hold on. Oh, too much refined foods leads to diabetes. Yes, definitely.
Yes, 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 definitely.
You're right, Carlton. You're right. Hi, Sashin. How are you? Good evening to you too. Anara says, right cha. Right cha. Right cha. Yes, yes, yes. I know, I know. I knew it was that. I knew it was San Diego, California. Thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you for doing the honors of sharing our life. Michelle, anything you want to share
Yes.
before we go on? You know, 1 in 10 persons are walking around
One
with
in 10.
diabetes.
Yeah, that's a lot. And also,
Mhm.
is it every 20 seconds there's an amputation going on as a result?
What?
Every 20 seconds there's an
What?
amputation going on somewhere
What?
in the world because of diabetes. Mhm.
Woo! Lord help us, please. Help us. Do you know
Mercy.
a diabetic? You know, I should have said today that I actually had two. I had two grandmothers that died from diabetes.
Oh, yeah?
Uh huh. Yeah, I had two. I had my mother's mother that died from diabetes and my father's mother that died from diabetes. And my
Wow.
mother died from an aneurysm to the brain, but her death certificate said diabetes.
Wow.
Yeah. And I was borderline diabetic about 23 years ago. And today, Dr. Monique, who is our guest, encouraged us to go and get our A1Cs done. And do you know what mine was? I'll let you know at the end.
We know
Dr.
you're happy.
Monique,
We know,
Dr. Monique
Marley.
told me to go and do my A1C today. I did. I was so motivated as she shared on the national radio. I said, I'm not leaving this because I don't get to go out because I work from home. So I'm not leaving town unless I go over and get it done. And I got it done. And guess what? In an hour, the results were back. Hello. Drum roll. And my numbers used to be like 6.5, and it's now at
Marley,
4.
we can't wait. Tell us now, please.
It was, how much was it? Hold on, let me get the exact number. I think it was
You're
four
you're
point
crazy.
nine. No joke. It was. I was like,
I believe.
yes,
Believe.
hey,
We
yes. So
believe.
I mean, I exercise every day, but you never know. The body works so funny. The range is 3.8 to 6.4, and mine was 4.9. Hello, 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 hello. So I was
I love
really excited. I was so excited as I got my results. It says you're a good girl. Hallelujah. I have
So,
no
Marlene,
diabetes. Mhm.
Marlene,
Yes, ma'am.
genetics, what it says, genetics load the guns, but
Genetics may loads the genetic loads the gun, but
lifestyle
lifestyle
pulls
pulls
the
that trigger.
trigger.
So we
Yes.
have proven it today
Proven
on the
it.
radio. Yeah, Spence Finlayson was like, "So a plant-based diet can reverse this thing." I'm like, "Yes, yes, it
Yeah.
can, 100%.
Yeah.
Yes, hundred
Yeah.
percent." So we're excited. I'm excited. I need us to stay by. I need you to grab somebody, grab a friend, grab a sister, grab a brother. Let them know that they're going to learn so much today. They need to be here with us on
Absolutely.
this program. On this program. Our guest, Dr. Monique, I will introduce her now, is my dear friend, first of all. We met many years ago. We became sister friends many years ago as I had an opportunity to work side by side as a teacher, and she was the nurse doing a program. I can't remember the name of the program, but it was educating young women on how to take better care of themselves and not be so promiscuous. And it was a nice program. I enjoyed that. But Dr. Mitchell, her husband's also my cousin. Okay. So I had to put that in there too. And to shout out to Dr. Mitchell's husband, Oddly. There you go. So Dr. Monique is a proud alumnus of the R.M. Bailey School and the University of the Bahamas. She holds a Bachelor of Science in Nursing with a minor in Community Health and a Master of Public Health in Public um, Promotions and Education. She is a certified health education specialist. She returned to university and obtained a doctorate of podiatric, how do you say that? Podiatric medicine, and completed residency at the Mount Sinai Medical Center in Miami, Florida. She is a board certified wound specialist, physician, and a diplomat in the American Board of Multiple Specialties in the prevention of treatment of diabetic foot wounds and diabetic foot wear. Listen, y'all need to stay here. Because of her passion in diabetic foot and wounds, she has been appointed to the Caribbean Regional D-Foot International NGO concerned with ending avoidable lower limb amputations due to diabetes worldwide. She is also a Bahamian and Caribbean certified diabetes educator, complete health improvement program, CHIP. I'm a chipper also. And she is a facilitator of one of the first podiatrists to become a lifestyle medicine professional with the American College of Lifestyle Medicine. She has served as president and secretary of the Adventist Health Professionals Association here in the Bahamas, and she has been employed with the Ministry of Health. Guess what? How many years? She only looks about this age, 32 years,
Oh,
and
wow.
is in private practice as a podiatrist locally in New Providence and in Grand Bahama. So if you are looking for a podiatrist, I introduce you to Dr. Monique as we come back from this short break.
Aw.
Aim to encourage, empower, restore, strengthen and trust in divine power to navigate life. Join Marlene and Michelle for inspirational Mondays. Join Marlene and Michelle for inspirational Mondays.
I don't know how this thing gets so mixed up. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Something Better and Healthier Steps. It's Inspirational Monday, and our guest, we're going to put her in the middle, in the hot seat. We're going to put her in the hot seat.
Welcome.
Welcome, Carlene. Carlene says she's on, but she's under New Engliston. New Engliston in the house tonight. Thank you so much for joining us.
Nice.
Go ahead. So, Michelle and Monique, and take it
And
away. So,
Marley.
Monique, yes, and I'm also a certified diabetic educator. I was one of, I would think it was the first of the group that actually did the program here in the Bahamas. I was determined to learn as much as I can about the illness that took my mom, my and both grandparents. I just wanted to know.
Wow. Well, good evening. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. I've often watched and now I'm a guest. So thank you for having me.
We're excited to have you. Can't you tell? Happy to have you, sister. Very happy to have you. As I listened to you
Thank
on the
you.
radio, I had the opportunity to be listening, and I was like, "Wow, this girl needs to be on our show this evening." And
Amen.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. And I
yeah,
know our audience will be blessed by your expertise. And
hmm
so tell us some
Well,
of your experiences. You've had so many, 32 years with the Ministry of Health. Wow, that's
yes. Well, I am also I actually have a lot of diabetes in my family as well. My mother is diabetic, and I have two brothers who are diabetics as well. So this has been a lifelong journey trying not to get diabetes and trying to teach persons how to live well with diabetes, how to reverse it. Has been a recent, all the recent research has been coming out, and so that has been a passion of mine to encourage my patients and encourage persons, you if you can commit to it, you can actually reverse type 2 diabetes. But we know a lot of persons will not go all the way, but even decreasing the medications, decreasing complications, it's a worthy goal. And I encourage persons to do that every single day in my office, and even with my family. I try to encourage them to eat properly, lose the weight, and as an example, I try to be, because I've been trying for a while to be vegan. And so what I do, whenever we have a family get together, I always take a salad, and then I always take a vegan dish. So regardless of what else they have there, I always have those two options. And it has, over the years, I've seen improvement in terms of persons willing to try to eat the vegan. Sometimes they eat all the vegan first, and then there's nothing left. But I don't mind because it's a way to introduce them to different vegetables and different types of foods, and small steps. And I've seen improvement in just by doing that. And so I try to encourage family members. And as we're talking here tonight, we may not necessarily be talking to a diabetic, but we all know someone who's diabetic. In the Bahamas, 11.6% of our population is diabetic, and an additional almost 7% is pre diabetic. So that is a lot of persons. So even if you just think of let's say 400,000 people in the country, 10% of that or 12% of that is diabetic. An additional 7% is pre diabetic. And
Mm.
so we know that that is a lot of people. And then a lot of us, like you are, Marlene, you have risk factors because your grandparents and your mom also had diabetes. So, and you even were pre-diabetic, which
Yeah.
I have been myself, have
Yeah.
been in the pre-diabetic range in terms of my A1C.
Yeah.
And I think when I went to UG Pines maybe a couple of years ago, before COVID, I was in the pre-diabetic range. And
Mm.
I came back and I got serious about my weight and trying to lose the weight and trying to stick closer to a plant-based diet. And I've seen improvements in my A1C going back down. And so it can be done. I know I am a testimony
Amen.
to the fact that it can be done. And there are lots of persons out there who've actually reversed their diabetes, come off all the medication or maybe just one medication. And so definitely I think that we can help a lot of persons improve their health and actually prevent the complications.
Mm.
Michelle mentioned 20 seconds, every 20 seconds, an amputation somewhere in the world. And that is true,
It's crazy.
every 20 seconds. So you think
I
about it.
can't believe it.
19 minutes we've been talking on live on the show, almost 20 minutes.
Someone got.
It's startling to think of how many how many amputations that is in that time, the 20 minutes that we've been talking. So, and it's true. In the Bahamas, we have about 1,000 amputations a year for diabetics and for diabetes. And so that's a lot. That's a lot. And it's not only the numbers, but as a result of those amputations, a large percentage of those persons will be dead in 5 years.
Yeah.
About 78% of them will be
Five
dead
years?
in 5 years. In five
Wow.
years,
Wow.
the mortality rate is higher for
Five.
diabetics who have an amputation than people who have breast cancer or prostate cancer. It's
Wow. Okay.
higher. You're
No.
more likely to die if you have an amputation than if you have breast cancer or prostate cancer in 5 years. I
Dr.
see, I
Monique,
see that. I see that look on your face, Michelle.
I know so many questions is going through my head, and I want to ask you: is it the
Hmm.
non-compliance that is
Yes.
correlated with then depression after the amputation? What is it? What factors would you say that would
For
cause the mortality rate to be so high?
Well, there are a number of those two factors that you mentioned hit the nail right on the head. A lot of persons who have an amputation are depressed. They get depressed because life never goes back to the
Yeah.
way it was before. And so a lot of persons are depressed. But we must remember that this person who is getting the amputation is a very sick person. First of all, diabetes is a cardiovascular disease. Most people who die from diabetes actually die from heart attack.
Yeah.
Most persons. You have some who have amputations and all of that, but the vast majority die from having heart attack because diabetes is an independent risk factor for cardiovascular disease or heart disease. Independent, just having the diabetes increases your risk of having heart disease and having a stroke. And so that's one factor. So the fact that they're having an amputation means that they have cardiovascular disease or heart disease. The second one is that by cutting off a leg, especially the higher the amputation it is, above knee or below knee, is very, very traumatic for the person's system. And so a lot of times they may not react well, they don't recover as fast. they're not as, they're not as well. So they
Yeah.
don't recover as quickly. And so sometimes they die because of results of that. But it's a combination of things. It's not one thing, because oftentimes most times it's not a healthy person who's just going to go and get an amputation. That person has a lot of other complications as well. It's not just one.
And
Okay,
even
so
the
that's the
amputation,
reason why.
even the process of getting the amputation, they could die
Hmm.
right there because of throwing clots. A lot of
Yeah,
them
Yeah,
end up throwing
yeah.
clots after the surgery.
a lot
So
of
it
them never leave the hospital. Yeah,
leave the
I think
hospital.
it's around 15% that never leave the hospital after an
100%.
amputation. I think it's around 15%. I would have to check that one, but around
Wow.
15% of persons will
Never
don't
leave.
leave the hospital, never leave the hospital. Not
Yeah,
alive anyway. They never leave the
Right,
hospital alive.
right.
Hmm.
that's deep. Wow. Thank you for so much information. This is
I
powerful.
told
So,
you, as I sat there today, I was like, whoa.
you
It was
know,
mind blowing. I'm telling you. You know.
Well, we
sometimes,
jumped right into that.
I
You
go back to
jumped right into that.
yeah. I've been on vacation to Jamaica and we're like, how you doing? And they're like, oh, I have sugar. Always,
Yeah,
I have sugar.
a
It's
little
like,
sugar, a
A,
little,
tou- a
a
touch,
little sugar.
a touch, a
A
touch. Yeah, they got a touch.
it's not
I ain't
something
claiming it though.
crazy.
I ain't claiming it though. I ain't claiming it.
Yeah, that's unique to the Bahamas. That's unique to the Bahamas. We ain't claiming it though.
No, we don't
Very
Um,
claim it.
I I heard Doctor I think Bloomfield said the other day. He's like, you don't claim it, but it claim you.
That's what I said today. I actually said, I said, if you don't have to claim it, it'll claim you.
you tell you, we gotta take this
Wow.
serious. And you're saying, doctor, that lifestyle changes can reverse it. So it
Yes,
just changing lifestyle. Let us know, Marlene. I know Marlene is an expert. You're an expert. What it takes to change a diet. What are some of the things, the simple things that one can do? And if anyone is in the audience listening, please
Yeah.
take notes because this is serious, very
yes.
serious.
And if you have questions also for Dr. Monique, please send them in at this time. If you have any questions, I'm sure she'd be happy to have you. I'm going to put up her information on how you can reach Dr. Monique here in Nassau or in
Yeah.
Grand Bahama. So you can make appointments to see her um, as as a podiatrist and as an educator for diabetes. She's well versed, well equipped to help
Tell.
you. Well equipped. So
I
Monique,
would like to review just a little bit for us
yeah,
what diabetes is, because sometimes I think a lot of persons do not follow through. Like Michelle said, it's non-compliance. People don't take their medications, or they don't take it serious because they don't understand. So diabetes is a metabolic disease, a disease of metabolism or breaking down of the sugars. So whenever you eat a carbohydrate food, for example, rice, bread, potato, any starches, they actually break down to glucose.
yeah,
Glucose is the fuel that our body uses for energy. So just like your car, you put petrol or gas or something like that in your car so that you can drive and go wherever you want to go. But the body works on the fuel of glucose or sugar. And that sugar, once the food is consumed, is eaten, it breaks down into sugar. That sugar goes into the blood. But to remove that sugar from the blood into the cell where it can actually work, it you need a hormone called insulin. So insulin is a hormone that is produced by the pancreas, and that is what is produced when you, after eating, it stimulates the insulin to be released. And that insulin, when the body's working, functioning properly, the insulin causes the sugar to move from the blood into the cell. It goes to your brain, to your muscles, to everywhere so that you can use it. Now, diabetes, that process doesn't work like that. Okay, that's the normal way it is. When you have diabetes, especially type 1, of course, they have no insulin at all. Those
yeah.
cells were killed, and for whatever reason, either from an infection or something like that, and they no longer produce any insulin. So they would have to get an injection every day for the rest of their life for
Mhm.
insulin. Okay, so we're not talking about the type 1s. Type 2 now is adult onset, but now we're seeing it in children now, Marlene. because
Yes.
the children are now obese and overweight and inactive. So
Wow.
because of that, we're seeing it now right here in our country. We have children who are type 2 diabetic in primary school, junior high school. Children are type 2 diabetics. And that is the result of our inactivity and consuming all the processed foods that we do, sugar sweetened beverages, obesity, and overweight as a
And,
result of those
and
risk factors.
inactivity. And
Yes,
inactivity.
inactivity.
Because
Yes,
our children are not
definitely.
moving like we used to. We used to run up and down
Mm-mm.
and play dollhouse and play and
Yeah,
climb walls and
outside
play bat and ball. These children are on their phones all day.
all day.
Marlene, you went far, Marlene. How far we used to walk to school
I
every
know five.
day, back and forth to school every day. Nowadays, the children get a ride. Their parents drop them to school, pick them up.
I did get a
So,
ride to school, but because I lived far from school. But hey,
but a
we
lot of
ran
us
up and
walked.
down we ran up and down the
Yeah,
yard all day. You know.
yeah.
All day.
So that is definitely those are risk factors. So as a result of that, so with type 2 diabetes, two things happens. One, the insulin is produced. Most often persons are producing some insulin, but the body is resistant to using that insulin.
Right.
It cannot get that insulin is not effective in getting the sugar out of the blood into the cell. And that is called insulin resistance. And it has to do with the obesity, it has to do with the fats, the high fat diet, the high fat that we have stored in our bellies and all over us. So those things cause insulin resistance. And so as a result of that, the insulin doesn't work like it should. And that's why we have the type 2 diabetes. And so now most persons with type 2 diabetes, the 90% of the persons who have diabetes is type 2. Only about 10% of the persons are type 1, and those are mostly children. They've had it for a very long time. But once persons are diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, they have to be treated. Most often, they'll be on medications, oral medications first, like metformin is a very common drug that is used. And so most persons would be on that. And that can actually be used for prediabetes as well.
Yeah.
The metformin can actually be used for prediabetes. So persons who are at risk for becoming diabetic can actually take metformin, and that can either delay it or stop it. But I want to put it to you that lifestyle is better. In
Amen.
the
Amen.
research, it showed that the
Amen.
lifestyle group did better than the metformin group. This,
Amen.
I mean,
Absolutely.
this is like
Amen.
30 years. The diabetes prevention trial, I think, is about 20, maybe 25 years old, and they showed from then that the lifestyle group did better than the metformin group. And if you would review that study, the persons did lose weight. Now they lost about 7 to 8 pounds. So that's not a whole lot of weight to lose. I think it's around 5 to 7% of your body weight that you can lose to actually reverse or prevent type 2 diabetes. And so it wasn't a whole lot. Like, sometimes persons think they have to lose 50 pounds or 100 pounds or something like that.
No.
10%.
10.
10%. So if you weigh 160 pounds,
Mm-hmm.
you can lose 16 pounds, and that'll decrease your risk of getting diabetes. The second lifestyle choice was exercise, being physically active most days of the week, physically active. And what they did was walking for 30 minutes.
That's
That's
it.
We
all.
walk with Molly in an hour every morning. So
Amen.
Yeah.
30 minutes
Amen.
exercise most days of the week. I like to say 7 days a week. I
Amen.
walk, I try
Me
to
too.
go every day,
Amen.
So 7 days a week, 30 minutes of walking. If you have to walk in your house, if you walk around your yard, walk to the park, wherever you want to walk, 30 minutes a day. And that is what persons need to do. Those have been proven,
Yeah.
proven. As we get to the diet now, the food,
Mm-hmm.
plant-based diet has been proven to reverse type 2 diabetes. That has
Amen.
been the most consistent diet.
Amen.
People do keto, they do all kind of other types of diet. Yes, they all help, but the research is showing that all along at the long haul, over time, a plant-based diet has proven best to reverse the diabetes and to consistently do it. So
Amen.
that is the diet. where you eating nuts, seeds, grains, fruits, and vegetables on a consistent basis. And
Yeah.
that is what in portion sizes now, because you know some of us who are vegetarian and vegan too, sometimes we eat too much as well. So
Too much
portion control, too much starches. Portion control is important no matter what you're eating. All of us need to control that. Okay, that leads excess calories, and especially low calorie density food, which means
right.
processed food, actually
Absolutely.
lead to obesity and can lead to the diabetes. So food as natural as it could come,
Hmm.
just how God made it, that's the
Amen.
best way to eat it. You know,
Amen.
little processing to it or cooking as natural as possible is the best way to eat your food. And then that gives you the best result in your health as well. Some of the other lifestyle things like you were asking about, Michelle, are sleep. Okay? We don't think of sleep as being important to our health, but sleep is very important. Getting 7 to 9 hours of sleep every night is very important. This
Very.
is when your body recharges. That's your brain rest. Everything else in the body relax and rejuvenates itself. You know, you reset hormonal levels, you reset your cortisol and all these other types of hormones. And that is how our bodies actually can rejuvenate for the next day. And if we're cheating ourselves if we don't get that sleep, 7 to 9 hours, and that sleep in a dark room. Turn
Yes.
off the phone, turn
Yes.
off the TV,
Yes.
iPad, all these things. Turn
Preach
them
it.
off. You know, I know we always hearing you preaching this, Molly.
No, I said it to a group on Sabbath. I was invited at one church on Sabbath, and I'm like, turn off the phone. And a gentleman said, no.
Oh,
I said, so I said to his wife, I said, take the phone. He said, no, she can't have the phone. I said, what you talking about? I said, what's
oh
yours
my
is hers, and
goodness.
what's hers is yours. Take the phone. She said,
Oh,
yes, take the phone.
yes,
Turn it
it's
because that
important.
blue light, the blue rays affect you. You know?
Yes, your melanin levels, it affects the
Yes.
melanin. Yes. So it's important to sleep, okay? Go to bed at the same time. Try to get at least 7 to 9 hours of sleep. Rest, relaxation, stress management, all of these things are good. Getting some sunlight, vitamin D, they've proven that persons with low vitamin D levels actually at higher risk for diabetes. Now, Marlene, I can tell you this story. When I went to UG Pine, they said they hardly saw anybody vitamin D level as low as mine. My
Ooh.
level was 7. I couldn't believe
Ooh.
it, less than 10. And at the same time, I was pre-diabetic, you
That's
know?
that's part of the reason.
Yes. And they
Wow.
told me I had to take the supplements as
Yeah.
well as they prescribed sunlight. I had to get a certain amount of hours of sunlight every day. And thank God, thank God, thank God for COVID.
Amen.
COVID helped me out because I was able to get my sunlight in. I took my supplements and now my levels are normal.
Hey,
But definitely, you know, that is one that has been proven to be a risk factor. Low vitamin D
yes.
is a risk factor for diabetes. So, and a lot of us, even though we live in sunny Bahamas, we don't
Mm-hmm.
get the
Not getting.
exposure to the sun. We don't get it, you know,
Mm-hmm.
because we're indoors all the time. We driving in our cars, we work in our office, we come home and then go out early and come back late. And so we don't get enough sunlight.
Don't
We don't
get
get
enough.
enough exposure. Yeah. So that's a risk factor as well for type 2 diabetes.
Hmm. Wow.
Hmm.
Monique,
Wow.
there's a question that came in. Powerful
Hmm.
information. Oh my goodness. Let's take that question. The question
Yeah.
says, thank you so much, Patrick, for sending in your question.
Yes.
I can't. Anyway, it says, is there a medication for a person with diabetes, i.e., example, to say, is there he or she can take that will exempt him or her from death within 5 years after amputation? I guess that's what they're saying.
Okay. Well, there are many persons who are alive because we know it's only 78% that die in the 5 years. So many persons are alive after amputation. And there are a lot of studies looking at why some people live and why others do not do so well. So yes, it has to do with the control of the diabetes to begin with. So your risk of being how well you were controlled prior to the amputation is impacted. And as a result, also after the amputation, what changes are you prepared to make? Some persons are smokers, for example. If you're prepared to stop smoking and to prevent further cardiovascular disease, then that will definitely help you. Some persons' mindset is important. A lot of persons are depressed, they give up, they don't, they can't see a future, they lose hope, Marlene, they lose hope. And so if
Yes.
they have no hope, then it's very difficult to help them and for them to help themselves. And so a lot of persons would die because of that. So it has to do with lifestyle changes. So all these things that we're talking about, a plant-based diet, getting your rest, dealing with your stress, taking your medication, getting your little exercise, all these things are what are going to help you or help that person to
Mhm.
survive after an amputation. But I feel mindset is the biggest one. If
Yeah, me
persons
too.
are
Oh,
depressed
yeah.
or they
Oh, yeah.
just give up, a lot of times you
Oh,
will see that
yes.
they will die. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I
So
shared that. I shared that in the group on Sabbath too, and yeah, it was well received. Mindset
yeah.
gotta
Mindset.
change
Yeah.
that negativity, that pessimism. Carlton has some beautiful comments. Carlton says, "Too much bread, biscuit, and bulla." Obviously, Carlton, you're in Jamaica. White
Yes,
flour
that
and
that
sugar. Diabetes love that, he says, because you feed it. And
that's it.
from
Yes,
food from God can heal any sickness. You are right.
that's it. The
You are right.
leaves of the trees,
And then
we
yeah, he
are for
says
the healing
aloe
of the
vera.
nation.
Take a little bit of
Yes.
aloe vera, and I'll get. He said, "Get rid of any diabetes." Okay, Carlton. All right, Carlton. So, among adults, children, and old people, who are more prone to have diabetes? Howard, thank you so much for your question.
Well, with the children, we remember we talked about type one. Most times that occurs. We don't know exactly why some children will get it. So I would say more adults. And as we get older, middle age into to older
Yeah.
would be at higher risk for diabetes because as we get older, we get more sedentary. We're not as active as we used to. We eat the same way we did when we was in our 20s. Now you're in your 50s. So a lot of times there are a lot of risk factors that are piling up at that time. At that time, we also have stress. We were not sleeping. We have financial issues. We got a lot of different issues going on at that time. And so that would increase the risk for diabetes as we get older. And you would see a lot of time we used to call type 2 adult onset. And so middle age was the time when you would see a lot of persons diagnosed with diabetes around that time. So I would say adults more in middle ages to older would
Yeah.
be at higher risk than the children.
Absolutely. I
Hmm.
have a question.
Hmm.
We go back to from mindset. I just have you found any formula or any system that you could tell us how to help others? Like, because I believe that is the biggest struggle with people, their
Mhm.
mindset. How can we encourage them to be compliant or to get that hope back after they've gone through probably even amputation at this point? What do you do?
I have another statistic. I love statistics. I
Yeah.
guess
Me
because of my
too.
job.
I do too. I do too. Because it really shows you where people are at. It shows us where we are. Yeah, I love it. Numbers are important.
They
Yeah.
are. So in 2019, the Bahamas, we did a step survey repeated, I think for the third time. And this is in the public domain. So anybody could go and get this result. It's steps 2019, Bahamas steps 2019. And shocking information is that of the persons who are diabetic and on medication, about 50 something percent of them are not taking their medication as they should. 50
Sorry,
something percent. So they're not taking their medication.
they're
So
not
they're
even
not taking their, say it again, Michelle.
they're not taking their medications.
Nope, not as they should.
They're not doing no alternative then, instead of like
No.
lifestyle.
Well,
Nothing.
some of them are taking the bush or alternative medicine, like they're using bush medicine or something like that. I don't have the exact. I think it's like 20 something percent that are taking bush medicine. However, that's not.
You change
You
your
you
diet.
have to balance it. You have to exactly. You have
You
to
got
balance it. We're not saying you can't do the lifestyle stuff, but you
you can't
have to balance it out.
with the
Yes.
starch. You can't continue eating the starch. So
No.
basically they're in denial then. It sounds like people
Yeah.
are in denial.
A lot of people are, and then what persons do is they feel like they can outsmart it. They'll be like, okay, I'll have my cake, my pound cake, and then I'll take 2 tablets, or I'll take a little extra insulin. Or they feel like they just have the belief that I know how I feel when my sugar is high. So then they'll take the medication when they feel that way.
They
But
do. They're
but
so,
you don't get the control that you need to prevent the complications.
they're so smart. These people are smart.
So
They have
funny.
this
Also,
down. They have it down to a science. You know. They have it down.
Yes, they a lot of people do. And I'm sure that, as diabetes educators, it's our role and it's our goal to try to educate persons to take control of their diabetes. And I see in the chat, Edward is asking what are the symptoms of diabetes. I'm gonna go over that in a second, and then when I finish with that, I'm gonna talk about the numbers because we need persons out there to be armed with information. So symptoms of diabetes is urinating a lot, like going to the bathroom, wanting to pee a lot, because remember we talked about that sugar being in the blood.
Yeah.
So when that sugar is in the blood, it's not in the cell, the body tries to excrete it. And so it sends you to the bathroom to try to pee that out so that your sugar level can go down. And so as a result of it, again, you start to drink a lot because now the body is trying to get you to dilute that sugar, and so you're drinking a lot, you're peeing a lot. You can actually lose weight because you're not,
Yeah.
that sugar is not, the energy is not going to the cells. So you
Right.
may feel weak, you may lose weight because you're not being nourished. The nutrients are not going into the cells. And
Exactly.
so peeing a lot, drinking a lot, losing weight,
Yeah.
actually I'm feeling fatigue or feeling tired.
Mm-hmm.
All of those are symptoms for diabetes. But
Mm-hmm.
most times we recommend that everybody should have their fasting blood sugar done at least once per year. When you have your blood sugar, when you have your physical, your annual physical, all of us should have our test done at least once a year. And then you should also have the A1C done because the A1C tells us how well your sugar was controlled over the 3 months. Whereas the fasting is just a snap in time, just at that moment. But the A1C tells a better picture because it tells us over 3 months how your
Mm-hmm.
blood sugar has been doing. And
Mm.
so we recommend that all of us have risk factors for diabetes. We either have a family member, we have other things, obesity, overweight, inactivity, family members, genetic. All these things can actually put us at risk for having diabetes. And so we need to get this checked at least once per year to make sure that we're good and we can get good news like Marlene.
Man, listen, I was so excited today. I haven't done it in a long time, so I just was
Uh-huh.
excited. I was excited. Yeah. It can
I'm
be,
gonna I'm gonna get mine done next week when
yeah,
I
I
when I
do.
get
I was
my
sitting,
physical.
yeah, because I was sitting listening. We had taken turns. She was on first, and I was just sitting listening. And she said, "And every year we should do it." I'm like, "When's the last time did I do one?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not going home today. I'm not going home today
Without
unless I
doing
get
it.
it done." And I got that done. And I got the panel done for my kidneys, and they were both perfect. And I was like, "Thank you, Jesus," because every day, not one number out. I'm like, "Thank you, Jesus," because every day
Awesome.
when somebody calls and they'll say, "Marlene, I have somebody who I want you to talk to. Their kidneys functioning at this level." I have friends call.
Uh,
Kidneys functioning at 40, kidneys functioning at 7%, kidneys functioning at
wow.
30%. Every week I have somebody calling with it. And I'm like, you know what? I need to know my numbers too. And I
Wow.
know
Yes.
we don't have insurance, it's could be kind of pricey. But if you can afford $60, you go and get your A1C done tomorrow. And I don't do it. I don't have a
Hmm.
machine. I promised I was going to get a machine as an educator. I probably should. Do you have one
Yeah.
money that people can come and get it
We
done?
we have one at the office, and I think it's like $45. They can call around to the labs because
It's
different
cheap.
labs have it for different prices.
I would have saved
So
$20 had I come to y'all. Hallelujah.
they can do it. They can. I would encourage them to call around because different labs have it for different prices.
Right.
So call around and see,
But
and
I stay
definitely get it
advertising.
done.
I don't know who owns Caribbean Lab, but I stay advertising. You do what I like about them. You don't need a doctor. You just go in and say, I
Hmm.
would like to have my test done. And then they
Uh-huh.
just email the results to you. And then you could say, well, email it to me and my doctor. I want
Yes.
my files. You have to pay
Yes.
for do you know you have to pay for files if you go to a doctor and you have to pay for the same files you sent? Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Yes.
So no,
Yeah.
I just send it to me, send Dr. Carey Bullet too.
And you should keep it for yourself. That's right. That's
No, it's on
empowerment.
my file. It's on my
You should have it. You
hmm
should I have all my results too. Every single test I ever did, I get a copy for myself. It's
Yes.
about me. I
Yeah,
paid for it.
yeah.
Then I want to keep a copy because you may change doctors, they might
True.
lost the file, something may happen, but you always have your copy. So we
Eggs.
want to empower persons, not only those with diabetes, but every
No,
one
no,
of us. You
no.
should have your results and you should understand it, because when you have it there, you can look it up on Google or wherever. If the doctor doesn't take the time to explain it to you well enough or something, you can contact an educator who would be able to give you all the details about it. So definitely keep your results. Keep
Yes.
your results. All my COVID tests I got none. I keep, I keep,
I love
I keep,
it. Amen.
I keep
But
everything.
we need to have our own files. I have my own in my
Yes,
email, and that's my record. I just keep it. I keep everything.
yes,
I tell her
yes.
to email it to me. I say I'm in your system. She said, "Yeah, I know," because I go there all the time. I'm like, just look for Marlene McKinney. I'm in your system. You don't need to be taking no information from me. Say yes, ma'am. I know. So they get used to me. I send people there all the time because I just like the fact that you can just walk in and get it done. Very
Yes,
easily.
yes.
There's hardly a waiting line, hardly ever.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Oh, that's wonderful. They
hmm
should be happy. So I
I
want to
don't
talk
know
a
who they are, but I like the way they work. I like their system.
Yeah, I want to talk a little bit about the numbers because the
Yes.
numbers sometimes could be a little confusing, but
hmm
there are basically three to four types of ways that we can diagnose diabetes or we can talk about diabetes. The first one is a random test. That means any time of the day, you just get up and take a test. Okay, you can do a finger stick, like if you go to the doctor's office, or they can even do blood tests. So most times it'll be a finger stick. If that finger stick or if that blood test is over 200, just a random test, it didn't fast, that 200 is suggestive of diabetes. Okay. Now, we won't diagnose anybody on that one test. We would definitely do additional tests like a fasting. But if it's over 200, and sometimes you hear people talking about it, they'll be like, oh, when I went, I was five something or four times. Spence said today on the radio that he knows somebody who's 1,000, you know?
Yeah.
And so, yeah,
Wow.
and so that's serious. So over 200 is suggestive, but we do additional testing. So then if that happens, then we would do what is called a fasting blood sugar, where overnight you do not eat anything. So you go to bed, let's say 10 o'clock, and then you wake up in the morning, you go to the lab and you take your blood test. Okay.
hmm
And that is called a fasting. Okay. So once you take that fasting, the goal or the normal number would be below 100. Okay, we want it to be below 100 or close to 99, 80, 70. Once it's above 70, then between 70 and 100. Okay, after that, if it's between 100 or 101 and 125, then that's the pre-diabetes range. Okay, you're pre-diabetes. That indicates you got to do something. You can't just sit there and wait for it to go diabetes. Get up and do something. Get active. Get physically active. Cut down the processed foods in your diet. Go whole food, plant based. Cut out the white or white bread, white flour, white grits, white rice, white everything. Cut everything out white. Okay, white sugar, white flour, white pasta, everything. Cut all of them out and go whole grain. Okay, and then once that is done, if now your blood sugar is 125 and above, that is diagnostic for diabetes as well. So if you take that fasting and it's 126, 130, 200, whatever it is, that is diabetes. Now, the third test is the one that Marlene had today called the A1C or the HbA1c. And why that test is significant is it actually looks at the sugar, that excess sugar that's in the blood, they actually attach to the red blood cell. And so in this test, they look to see how many of those red blood cells have sugar on them. Okay. And then they give you a percentage to say, okay, 2%, 4%, whatever. Marlene, what your number was?
4.9.
Exactly. Awesome. So 4.9%,
Yeah.
okay, had it. And that's completely normal. Some will have it. Okay. So let me read this so you can get it. So
Very
below 5.7, like Marlene was 4.9, is absolutely normal. Below 5.7 is normal. So that's that what percentage of your blood cells have this sugar on it. When you get between 5.7 to 6.4, that is pre-diabetes. Okay, that means time for action. Whenever you hear pre-diabetes, that means action. Do something. You got to do something. Okay. And then once you get below above 6.5, that is diagnostic of diabetes. You could actually go on medication and insulin or tablets or something to try to bring that back down. So we want to talk to the people in the pre-diabetes range.
Yeah.
Okay, that means A1C between 5.7 or 6.4, fasting between 100 to 125. Okay, those people, they have an opportunity to prevent diabetes. Okay, to reduce their risk, okay, of getting diabetes by doing something. All those lifestyle changes we talked about earlier, the exercise every day, most days of the week, eating a plant-based diet, cutting out the processed food, getting your sleep. Okay. When we didn't mention specifically prayer and meditation, trusting in God, that is important because only God could change these things, or give us the strength to change, to do the things that needs to be done. So we definitely need to trust in Him. We need to pray. We need to take the Sabbath rest, deal with your stress. All of these things are important to make sure that you do not cross from the pre-diabetes into the diabetes. Okay. So
Yeah.
I saw that there was a question
Yes,
there
there's a
about,
question for you. Yeah.
okay. So intermittent fasting, yes, intermittent fasting can definitely decrease your risk of diabetes. And it's very popular now. Intermittent fasting, and Marlene probably could speak to this a little bit more than me because I'm still learning about it, is that intermittent fasting has many health benefits. And one of them is to decrease your risk of getting diabetes because during the fasting time, you're burning fat.
Yeah.
You're burning the stored fat on your belly and other places in your body. And so that decreases insulin resistance
Yeah.
and it actually helps the body to function better. So definitely can decrease your risk of diabetes and over time, weight loss and better control if you have diabetes. So intermittent fasting definitely is something that can be recommended to help with diabetes control.
Amen. Amen.
Yeah,
Wow.
beautiful,
It's been
beautiful,
powerful today, has it not?
powerful, very
You
informative.
have very informative, eh? Very Monique, you're so passionate about it. I love it. I love your passion. Yeah, I love how you're so excited about sharing this information. You know,
Yeah.
Monique, you didn't put inbox. Can you inbox me, please, privately, your information I can put um on our screen so persons can know how to reach you? If you
Okay, I'll type it in.
Yeah, if you can. Thank you so much. And thank you all for your love. Thank you so
Thank
much,
you so
Edward
much.
and Lucia. If you loved and appreciated what Dr. Monique had to share, then send her some love buttons. Send her some love so she can know that you
I
appreciate. Yeah.
I see a lot in there already, so that's awesome.
Yes. Because I mean, listen, this is powerful. And knowledge is power. Knowledge is
Power.
power. Oh, you're still typing.
Also,
Okay. Knowledge is
share this
power.
Yeah, I'm
video.
not as fast.
Share this
Go
video.
on.
You know someone in your family that would be blessed by this. It is
Mhm,
life changing,
mhm.
and sometimes they need to hear it from a doctor. So
Yeah.
we have it. Dr. Monique spoke, and she spoke well. She backed it
Yeah.
up with science. So guys, please share this video.
Can't go wrong. Can't go wrong. We'll be back after these messages.
Right time to look good and feel good. It's challenge time. Get on board with certified health coach Marlene McKinney. Global $40 weight loss challenge. Enjoy vegan meal plans, clean eating, routine exercise with awesome WhatsApp group support. Get excited. Don't hesitate. Register, forward email address via WhatsApp to 242-535-6293 or Marlene_McKinney at live.com. Don't forget to add your name as it appears on your bank card. What time is it? Life-changing time. Join the challenge. Get on board.
You know, these programs that we're sharing from day to day are not just for you, it's for us too. It's to educate and inform and encourage us on this journey that we are on, because we are all on a journey, you know.
Amen.
Yeah.
And I often tell my girls in the morning, my guys, you guys are exercising with me, and I'm so happy. I'm so happy to have company exercising in the morning, you know, because I know that I'm going to work out. But guess what? If they choose not to exercise with me, I work out anyhow. Yesterday it was just me and Joe. Hello, 2 hours. listening to while listening to some kind of motivational stuff. Oh, thank you so much. Phyllis says, thanks for sharing. Truly appreciate you giving of your time to give us educational information. May
Amen.
God bless you.
Amen.
Sonia
Thank
says,
you.
thank you, doctor. Very informative. Blessings. Cherry says, does having a fatty liver contribute to getting diabetes? If yes, will a coffee enema help to reverse it? Haha.
Um, fatty, increased fat intake does increase your risk of getting diabetes. So I sure that having a fatty liver would contribute to that as well. I am not 100%. Marlene probably could answer better about the coffee enema, but I think it would definitely help. I don't know if it would reverse it, but it should definitely help. And yes, the fatty liver can contribute to the diabetes.
Okay. All right. Very good. Thank you, Cherry, for
Very
your question. James says, God bless you,
Thank you.
doctor. So this is our African Sierra Leone family. And
Yeah.
good.
yeah, where else are they, Michelle? And where's Boniface again? I can't remember. Hallelujah.
Rwanda.
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 Yeah. Yes, most
Beautiful.
definitely. A coffee animal will help, but definitely lifestyle. Diet and lifestyle. That's number one. That's number one. Oh, wow, really? Thank you. Where is she? What's her name? My sister's joining us for the first time from Canada. Thank you very much,
Wow.
Sonia, for joining us
Beautiful.
Welcome.
from Canada. Hey, I saw
Japan.
that name today, Damaris Curtis. How you doing?
Oh,
She said, God
nice.
bless you, doctor.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, very informative show today. Very
That's
informative
it.
information, very passionately shared by Monique, and I know that you were blessed by it. Monique, if you were to be asked to wrap it up in just a few, go ahead and tell.
I
What
would
would you?
just like, I was about to say, can I say something else?
Yes,
Because
you
I could
can.
talk all
Yes,
night.
yeah, of course. You could. Yes,
I'm in good company. I could be with you all.
but we invite you. You can come back. You can come back. Michelle, do we have an opening? We have an opening in November or December, I think. Not November, December, I think we have an opening. We will let you know, darling.
Sure. Thank you. I love to talk too. So I just
Amen.
wanted to
Amen.
mention that diabetes education, because this month, World Diabetes Day, the theme is actually educating to protect tomorrow. And so it's important that we recognize that education is important not only for the diabetic themselves, but for their loved ones, their family members, also for the health team, for us, for all the persons listening, those who don't have diabetes yet, because it can actually help persons who don't have diabetes to go and get checked to make sure that everything is good. It helps the diabetic to live better. 90% of what the diabetic does to control their diabetes is done by the patient. 90 plus percent. When they go to see the doctor, that's only 1 or 2% or 10%. Okay. So the majority of what they do is done by the patient. And so
Yeah.
the patient must have the skills and the knowledge to know what to eat, when to eat, how much to eat,
Mhm.
how to take their insulin or how to take their medication, the importance of taking it. Okay. When to exercise, all these things they need to know, how to store the insulin in case they have insulin. So definitely the information it's good, but we want to give them skills.
Yeah.
How do you do, what do you do to make sure that your diabetes is under control? And by seeing a diabetes educator like myself or Marlene here, it's important because you not only get information, you get skills, you get support so that you can actually make the changes that you need to make sure that you're living healthy or you're actually preventing that diabetes. You can move from pre-diabetes to not being a pre-diabetic anymore, or you can move from being a diabetic on 5 or 6 medication and come down to maybe 1 or 0 medication. So definitely we need to see an educator. And we have a lot of educators here in New Providence. You can actually go to our website called Bahamas Association of Diabetes Educators. All of our training sessions that we've done for the whole entire year. We've had one every month for the whole year. And so all those videos are there. You can actually go and watch them at your leisure. You can contact any of us if you need a session or if you need someone to come by your church or by your workplace or wherever it is. If you want an individual session, we can actually do that as well. And we would just want to help you to live better, live stronger, and control your diabetes better. And so we definitely want to do that. So we want to promote our educators this month as we talk about World Diabetes Day.
Michelle, wrap it up.
It has been such a blessing. Very, very informative. Thank you so much, Dr. Monique. I can see everyone was blessed. And I see in the comments, they want you back. So you're booked.
I can't see the comments. I'm so busy. I'm so busy.
Thank you so much. I'll be happy to come back.
Oh, it said make you come back. It said make you come back. I saw it by Michelle, but I was like, what did he say? Carlton,
Thank you so much.
Oh.
And informative. And clear.
Very clear.
Very
Thank
simple
you.
explanation.
Definitely we want her back. You see that? Definitely. Yeah. So we will look to see what our next opening is. Otherwise, if we don't have one between now and December, January, the first week, guess why? People would have been
back
and their mama during the Christmas.
Oh yeah.
Oh boy.
They're gonna need us, Monique. They're gonna need you.
I know.
Everybody's right now saying, but I gonna wait till January. I gonna wait till January to make that new start. So January, we gonna need you in the house, and we're so grateful for your willingness to share and just continue to do what you're doing. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you so much.
A healthier home makes a healthier family, makes a healthier nation, a community makes a healthier.
That's right.
Michelle, anything else I missed? Oh, tomorrow we'll be back 2:00. We're still doing Christmas and holiday foods, holiday recipes. Yeah. So we have Thanksgiving and Christmas recipes that we'll be sharing with you tomorrow at 2. Tomorrow at 2. Join us at 2. If not, you can always catch it on our YouTube channel. Remember, we are taking healthier steps to something better. God bless you all.
Yes.
Thank you.
Aim to encourage, empower, restore, strengthen and trust in divine power to navigate life. Join Marlene and Michelle for Inspirational Mondays. Join Marlene and Michelle for Inspirational Mondays.